Yes, this is the 260. I'm Joe Walburn. I'm joined by the man they call the mayor of the 260, Dave Rickert. We got shotgun with Brumby. We're running downhill, just laying down that content. Remember, you can find us at the 260 on Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. And remember, it's the 260. There's no zeros in the twos.
In the fort.
That's right, except a certain attorney I'm thinking about tonight. But there's no zeros in the 260. And I tell you what, every Thursday night we're laying down fresh content here at the Spiece Fieldhouse at 7 p.m. And speaking of content, guys, Sonar, this is number 9. So we're just rolling through the 260, laying down that content.
Looking so forward to tonight's episode.
Oh, I tell you what. You know what, Dave?
I've had zero stress over this.
You know what? I need this tonight because you know what? It's such a great American story.
It is.
With Frankie and I'm watching regional banks fail. I'm watching this fascist nut job Zelensky try to provoke Russia into nuclear war. I need this tonight. I need a great American story of a man who came here.
This is what it's about.
And strived to do better.
Yep. And he is that's a great word. He is a striver.
Yep.
Let's tell you what, Brumby. Doing a little baseball tonight. How about that high school baseball? I want to talk a little high school baseball with you. And then, Dave, I want to talk a little bit about the big leagues, too, since we got Frankie here. But give us an update, man. I mean, we're starting to get a little bit into May now. You know, first week into May. And you know, Matt, it's when the season for baseball really begins in high school to kind of take shape.
The weather finally broke.
The weather, last night. But, no, you're looking at the tournament draw was this past Sunday, and everything's laid out for, these teams, and they know where they're playing, what time they're playing, and now, it's getting, like I said, getting some momentum going towards that, that end of the season and getting ready for the tournament. But, Carroll won 15 in a row, and then, this week got beat by Westfield on Tuesday night, and then, Lures got them last night. And
Matt, I got to tell you,
wasn't that a shock, Dave, Lures?
Well, it's a shock to me. Might be a shock to you.
Not to me.
Not to Matt Brumbaugh. He's been on this from early, late winter. He was calling Lures. He goes, watch out for Lures. And
why, Matt?
They're just, they're a veteran team that's been together here for a while. They've got some guys that can throw it on the mound. They got a left-hander, Martinez, who's really good. And they play hard-nosed baseball. And they, it's not surprising. They're starting to gain their stride right about now. They got Snyder last week, split with Snyder last week, beat Carroll last night. Good fundamental team that gets after it.
They're back to 2A.
Correct.
So they can
They might make a little run here.
Run here coming up, going back to 2A.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been some jumbling around. East Noble went down to 3A, and New Haven's up to 4A now. And but them having the shot at going there at 2A, they definitely got a shot because they got some guys that play the game hard, play the game fundamentally sound, and it's been like I said, it took them a couple weeks, but they're starting to roll a little bit.
Jeff Stansky does a great job.
Yes, he does.
But looking kind of forward ahead, how about that sectional baseball with Carroll and Snyder and some of these teams? I mean, some of these sectionals, Dave, got to be really stacked.
Me and Matt was talking earlier. The Snyder deal, I mean, when I watch them play and Fry's on the mound, they are really, really good. But I hate to say it, I think they're a two-man team.
Yeah, I went down to the ballpark last night, went down to Parkview Field, watched Northrop and Snyder play last night, and I mean, Logan and Fry are two terrific players, and I know it takes time. They lost some guys off that team last year.
That's a big senior-laden team.
Yeah, so they're trying to rebuild, but at the same time, they're leading the conference. They're in the driver's seat now. They beat Northrop again last night, so they've swept Northrop. They've got Dwanger coming up the last week of the season.
And if Dwanger splits with them,
it's a co-championship.
It's co-champs again for Dwanger.
Yeah.
Wow. Isn't that something? Now, how is Carroll going to respond? Because we kind of felt like early on in the season, 15 in a row, it felt like Carroll was the team to beat. How do you think Carroll responds as the playoffs heat up?
Oh, I still think they're in the driver's seat. They drew the bye. They play the winner of DeKalb and Northrop. Snyder's on the other side. They play north side. And, I think it's just a matter of and credit to them, they go out and play tough competition day in, day out.
Now, with the playoff baseball, Matt, you got such a rich history in coaching. What do you really zero in on? Is there something? Is there a message or something that you really preach? Because all of a sudden, with the playoff baseball, the nerves have to be a lot higher.
Well, I think at the end of the day, I've always said if you get a pitcher out there that can throw strikes and you're clean defensively, you don't make errors, you put yourself in a position to win every game in the tournament. Obviously, you got to have a deep pitching staff because, depending on how that draw comes out, I mean, again, like a draw like Northrop, and we've had this before when I was coaching there, is that you got that Wednesday game, Friday game, and Sunday game to win it all, or Monday game, and what you do is, you got your number one, you better have a good number two, and you better have that number one ready to go on Monday, and all hands on deck. I mean, the relievers got to be ready, but again, if you play solid defense and you get timely hitting, you put yourself in a pretty good spot.
Well, Dave always talks about unforced errors. And he even applies it to me in business sometimes. He talks about, Joe, we can't have unforced errors, but that's true. And, Dave, to pivot to big league ball, has anybody got off to a start hotter than the Devil Rays, Dave? 26-6.
That is really a shocker. It really is. When Kiermaier went to Toronto, I was like, well, are they blowing this up?
Yeah.
No, they got better.
And
Kiermaier's having a great year in Toronto.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that to with the Devil Rays? Do you think it's the scouting on the organization,
scouting and
the
drafting.
minor leagues?
Scouting and
It's
drafting.
definitely scouting. I mean, they just keep stacking players up, and they know that they're going to lose guys through free agency or trade or whatever it may be.
Is it a situation in the major leagues, and help me out with this, Dave? Are there certain teams that invest more in scouting, or just have better scouts, or how do they have that kind of advantage?
I'm a Yankees fan, and their front office is idiots. They're all into analytics, and me and my buddy Bob Hamlin, we talk about this. You got to see the player. What can this player do for you? Quit looking at what his analytics are.
Well, they break it down so deep.
And by the way, you got the Tampa in first, and the Yankees are in last.
Well, and
they got the highest paid man.
A little payroll discrepancy there.
Yeah, and what's really shocking, Brummy, is, okay, the Devil Rays are playing 800 baseball, but how about the Orioles? I mean, when's the last time the Orioles were playing, they're what, 20-10 right now? I mean, when's the last time the Orioles, now I know it's early, we're 30 games in, it's a marathon, as Dave always tells me in the big leagues, but how about the Orioles?
Well, they've been building for this for
because
a little
they've
bit.
sucked for so many years, and they got high
some
draft picks.
choices. But
so if you suck, if the Dave Rickards right, the theory, if you suck long enough, Matt, you gotta be good, right?
There's some truth to that, but I would say last year it started to really click for them, and they were in it down to the last week of the season or a couple weeks of the season in that wild card spot. So they've put together nice. The catcher's just he's solid and he's kind of the team leader, and then. On top of that, they've been getting some pretty good pitching, so it was starting to come.
Even what I tell younger kids, it's about innings. So if you're on the bubble of going to varsity, JV to varsity, and you're going to sit on the bench, go back to JV. Get your innings in.
Yeah, get your innings in.
So this is the same in the pros. These guys are starting to get more and more innings in, and it's starting to pay off.
Okay. On the negative side, Coach Brumbaugh, what do you say to the Oakland A's? I mean,
move.
I mean, have you seen
Just
that disaster?
It's
wow.
The sad thing about that is it's not just one or two. It's gone for a long time like this. I mean, they've had, back in maybe mid 2000s, they had some really good teams, and all of a sudden it just kind of fell apart, and it's just continued to decline. And when you see that, unfortunately, the attendance on that does it as well.
Big time.
Back to attendance to Tampa Bay. Jason Dorfler, who we had on last week, he went to one of the very first games of the season. I don't know. Yeah, his first week. There's still nobody going to those games, man.
It's sad.
That's so sad because
you got the number one team in the league.
And the guys are so talented.
Yeah.
Moved to Nashville. Moved to Nashville's trying hard for a team.
And
it'd be a great
By the
fit.
way, the A's moved to Vegas.
Vegas, yeah.
Moved to Vegas.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Matt, this past weekend we went to the fights, which was
Oh, the fights
amazing.
were amazing.
It was great.
I was so stunned at the operation of Art of Scrap. I mean,
Well done.
well done.
Yeah.
We had getting ready for the kickboxing last weekend. What do you got coming for Spiece on that?
Well, we got the kickboxing event is going to be on May 20th, so it's 2 weeks from tomorrow or from Saturday, and it's again Dave Martinez. You guys had or Dave Hernandez. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
you had him on.
Martinez.
Yeah,
You got your mind on
think of
baseball,
man.
but
We
you know
got-
what? That interview last week,
He's solid.
I don't know if
man.
you had a chance to check it out,
Yeah,
Matt.
he's solid.
Dave and I had Dave Hernandez, and he was just, and Dave nailed it afterwards. He said, Joe, you could feel the energy and the presence.
Yeah.
And you did, and we are really fired up for the event on
He's
May 20th here at
yeah,
Spiece.
He's a solid guy. It's going to be a great production. Just one of those solid guys. He's going to be out there doing the thing right, and it's going to be a full day. They start with the weigh-ins, and then they come parading down, and they get right in the ring, get after it. It's going to be exciting.
I texted with him 2 or 3 days ago on some personal matters with him, and I think he's up to 14 fights and
Yeah.
counting.
That's awesome, because that's how it was Saturday night. I mean,
Yeah.
we enjoyed it. And the walk-ins, I had no idea how much these guys market themselves. I mean, you kind of think of it as tough fighters. We, Ken Dog's our guy. We love him. But he's a master marketer, too. And Dave and I really enjoyed watching, the walk-ins, the music. I mean, how about some of those outfits, Sonar? We definitely saw some stuff. But I tell you what, Dave, I really enjoyed that Art of Scrap. And and what I realized, too, that Dave pointed out was we got a lot of good fighters around the 260 area. And Dave and I, we're going to have a roster of guys that we want to get on.
Matt,
and we want to explore that, baby.
we want to get your guy because he's going to be fighting in Art of Scrap 7.
Oh yeah, we got Dustin Moore. My
Joe, who you met.
former baseball coach of mine that
And San
he's
Francisco
been
Giants.
Yeah, any former Major
World
League
Series.
Baseball player, which is not a bad resume there. But yeah, he's ready to roll. He's been training now for 2 years, and he's got that moxie and that.
He
Little bit
does.
He had the moxie.
You know what? I think he's an adrenaline junkie. I
Yeah.
enjoyed meeting
He's
him.
ready to roll.
I love the moxie. I'm here you won a World Series ring.
Yeah.
And you're gonna say, hey man, I'll get in the ring.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's time
you
to
know,
roll. he was ready. I talked to him on Sunday, and he was
let's go.
He was giving the breakdown. He's ready to get after it.
Yeah, we want to get him on the show.
Oh yeah.
well,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
exciting, and with Spiece, remember SpieceFitness.com, and don't forget about the Hercules Nutrition, the training with Derek Eby. They're killing it. We're excited because the memberships with the fitness are growing. So a lot of good stuff out here at Spiece, you guys.
Yeah, and we got Jim Rat's tournament this weekend. I mean, it's going to be packed house.
I'll
It's
say
been
this.
like that all for the last 3 weeks.
I had a car accident, and we've been looking for cars last 3 weekends, and driving by this place on the weekends, it is packed.
Yep.
I mean, they're making big money here.
Well, we get Jim Rat's and the kickboxing event on the same day. So
oh my
you
God!
talk about-
exciting.
There's not going to
talk
be any
about-
parking.
Yeah, it'll be crazy.
Well, coming up, Francisco Ernesto Pena,
Damn, you nailed it.
That boy.
lovingly known as Frankie Pena.
Or bazooka.
His story is next on the 260.
It is the 260 podcast, live from Spiece Fieldhouse every Thursday at 7 p.m., highlighting all the gas sports, featuring guests from the 260 area code and beyond. Live on YouTube every Thursday at 7 p.m. Just search 260, also available anywhere you find your podcasts. And remember when searching, there are no zeros in the 260. It is the 260 podcast, live from Spiece Fieldhouse every Thursday at 7 p.m.